Okay, for the duration of the service, if everybody could put their phones on silent or turn them off, that would be very much appreciated. I'm watching this, everybody. So on behalf of Corey's family, I thank you all for coming today. Your presence means a lot, and it is a testament to how much Corey meant to all of us. A quote I liked is from Leo Tolstoy. "Only people who are capable of loving strongly can also suffer great sorrow. But this same necessity of loving serves to counteract their grief and heals them." This is why we are all here today. We have loved so much that we are feeling the pain of loss. But collectively, maybe we can heal each other through that same love. I remember Corey as a carefree child, fashioning his own pod racer after watching Phantom Menace out of a seat, 2 ropes, and 2 box fans. As a teenager at church camps, he was always bending the rules, probably breaking them along the way, and walking that edge between blatantly breaking the rules and just getting close to it. As an adult, he sought out almost anything that raised the adrenaline level. Fast boats, fast cars, dune buggies, helicopters, the list goes on. Family meant everything to Corey, and he treated his friends like family also. He would do what he could, when he could, for family. That's not to say he didn't grumble or outright complain, especially about other family, but you know. But I regret that we couldn't help out in the one way he really needed it, a medical miracle. We will miss his physical presence, but stories and memories will live on in our hearts. I like to think that he has met his Uncle Corey by now, who he's named after, and the 2 of them, with Randy, our other brother, have built a huge bonfire of miscellaneous stuff and are sharing stories. Take care, Corey. We'll catch you on the flip side. Now I'd like to read his obituary. Corey C. Johnson, age 35, of Cutlerville, passed away unexpectedly on Friday, June 7th, 2024. He had extensive knowledge with building engines, specifically racing engines. Corey loved being on the water with a fishing rod in his hand. You would often find Corey dressed in his swim trunks, flip-flops, and a t-shirt, even when he wasn't on the water. Corey will be lovingly remembered by his mother, Lynette, and Steve Bilski, Bart and Tracy Johnson, brother Derek, 3 stepbrothers, 2 stepsisters, and grandparents, Richard and Margaret Johnson, and many aunts, uncles, and cousins. Corey had numerous close friends, and he enjoyed spending time with them. Lance. No, Lance. Oh, wait, no, Mary, sorry. That's why I told you earlier.
Would you bow with me with opening prayer? Heavenly Father, in the quiet moments of heartache, where the silence whispers the name of our dearly departed, We come before you seeking solace. Lord, wrap us in your comforting embrace, and with your tender mercy, illuminate the cherished memories and hold them dear. Guide our hearts to recall the laughter, the love, and the life shared, finding in each memory a fragment of your divine joy. Let these precious moments be like rays of your eternal light, piercing through the veil of our grief and warming the chill of absence with the gentle assurance of your love. Grant us, O Lord, the grace to celebrate the life lived, not just mourn the loss and to endure. In the recalling of these stories, shared meals, and unspoken bonds, may we feel the presence of your love and our love for one another among us. Comforted by the thoughts that in you no love is ever lost, and all souls find peace. We trust in your promise of eternal life, believing that in your kingdom we shall once again embrace. Until that day, let the cherished memories of our loved one be the testament to your enduring love and hope of reunion that faith in Christ brings. Amen. I love you, Corey.
Now, we don't have a program printed, and I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Corey's aunt, Bart's sister, Laura, and Mary is our sister-in-law. And now Lance, his cousin, was going to read something.
Well, that took about the first two sentences.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I knew Corey for 35 years. He was only 2 months older than me, and we came from a close family, so we grew up together. I remember throughout our childhood, aside from birthdays and all our family get-togethers, we would do a lot of things, like go to the movies with Grandma. It kind of helped that we lived really close to the movie theater. We've had sleepovers. We've gone to camp together. Another memory was running up the dunes at Aunt Sue's cottage. But yeah, I've looked up to Corey throughout his life, both literally and figuratively. He was an outgoing and confident man, and I've always admired those traits about him, and I wished I had those traits. And because of his outgoing and confident nature, he had a lot of experiences throughout his life, both good and bad, and he would share those with me at times. Things like going through driver's training. I know he seemed to me a more confident driver than I was, especially the first few years. He would talk to me about girls, and even some of the acts of mischief he would get into. Some of those I was a participant in. I remember one time when we went to SPEC, which is a church-sponsored sports and fellowship camp at a college in Iowa. I remember one year I brought my laptop to SPEC, and this was before they had Wi-Fi, So Corey had helped me borrow an Ethernet cord from, I think, the athletic director's office.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I also remember that year I had brought my window AC unit with me. So imagine me lugging a heavy AC unit. You know, Corey wasn't that much bigger than I was, but he was there to help, and of course he enjoyed being in a cold room during those hot summers. After high school, even though our paths took us in different directions, we still managed to hang out outside of family gatherings, whether it be at the hookah lounge or a party or just talking all night. And looking back, I wish we could have done more of those as adults, and I'll cherish those memories and many others. A bunch of you all know that Corey was a helpful guy to his family and friends. I remember, he didn't help me find a car, but he's helped family members find cars, fix broken cars, help the grandparents, and even me figure out some technology. I did note that I said he did that without hesitation, but no, he did grumble at times. And I do too. Yeah. But lastly, I'd just like to say my heart goes out to Uncle Bart and Aunt Tracy and Aunt Lynette and his brother Derek and the rest of his family and friends. I know that we have a strong family and that we'll give you all the love and support that you need during this difficult time. I miss you, Corey. I love you, cousin.
I also have a Diana Bobbitt, a member of our church, who knew Corey as a little one. She was in charge of the Christian ed classes for the little ones when Corey was an infant through probably preschool age. And she couldn't be here today, but she wanted me to read this. As most of you know, there are many young people out there who I have always referred to as my kids, and Corey was one of them. Since his early days in Sunday school, and also when I had the privilege of babysitting him and Derek when they were little, I made many memories. There were church parties and many holidays, and just plain kids' parties, sharing lots of fun times. My kids, though same as Corey, grew up and had busy lives of their own, so it was only some family times that I would get to see them, but continued to hear all of his adventures and achievements. So Corey, you and the memories we did have together will continue to always be in my heart, along with my love. Diana. Mike, my husband, is the one that put together all the pictures that everybody's been sending, and the video we saw earlier, and also this one.
without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. Rush you both, go out your way, and the vibe is feeling strong. It was small, turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken. The love will never get lost. And when brothers will come first, and the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach. So remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride. Let the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every memory as you go. And every road you take will always lead to home. Oh, it's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
So for those of you who do not know me, I am Uncle Mark. For those of you that have been misled by Bart, I am the younger brother, the youngest brother.
I deny that.
And those of you who may not have heard my name but knew Corey well, I might have been referred to as the cool uncle, the best uncle, perhaps even the only uncle. I wanted to greet you this morning. There are two stories that jump out right away when I am thinking about Corey. And both stories end up having a lesson to them, a lesson to me. The first story happens when Corey is probably, he's probably around a year old, I would think. And I believe I'm home for college and want to spend time with my nephew. So they hand him over to me, and I am wearing my favorite pair of denim shorts. I love these shorts. These shorts are great. And I'm bouncing him on my knee and everything, and he's laughing because I'm just trying to get that one good laugh and everything, and all of a sudden his face goes really, really red. Deep red. And of course, you know, anyone who has kids, your next line is like, are you pooping? Are you filling your pants? Are you filling your pants? You know, and he's getting beet red. And no, he was not filling his pants. He was filling my pants because it was everywhere. But the lesson on that is that generally, if you are in the presence of Corey, you are going to get more than you bargained for. The second story happened not too much later. And again, I'm trying to play with him, and I'm trying to get that laugh out of Corey. So they have these toys, you might have seen them before. They have a suction cup on the end of them. And you stick it there, and then the rest of it, you can kind of make it bobble a little bit. Now, I was in college, but wouldn't say that I was the brightest ship there. And so I basically thought it would be cool if I put that on my forehead. And so he's hitting it, and it's wobbling on and down. Now, the longer it's on my forehead, the tighter it is getting on my forehead. Now, logic would tell you you peel off a little bit of it and it'll come off nicely. No, it eventually came off when Corey pulled it off. And then I have this nice big round circle on my forehead. And I had to go back to college. And I wore a baseball hat for 2 weeks and walked to class with my head down like this. What the moral of that story is just like that suction cup, the bond of our relationship was much stronger than I first thought it was. Corey's name, and if you're looking it up, the meaning of Corey's name in Anglo-Saxon, it means chosen. And Corey was chosen. Corey is named after his uncle, and for those of you that don't know his uncle Corey, no better name for Corey, because his uncle Corey was the same way. His uncle Corey, there was no stranger. There was no bad person. Every single person he came up to, he was friendly with. Sounds familiar, right? Every single person he would go out of his way for, give the shirt off his back for. So, chosen, that's the right thing. There's a post that somebody had put on Facebook, and I asked that person if I could read part of his post. And it says, "Our families grew up together and knew each other like that too. We called each other cousins because we were so close, and we actually have cousins in common. The Johnson family is a huge clan of some of the best people I know, which is why Corey was the way he was. Bart Johnson was such a fantastic father that he recognized my own circumstances were not good, and he was kind enough to let me tag along for some life lessons, further strengthening our bond. That's the kind of love that comes from the Johnsons, and Corey kept that tradition flourishing." Now, I don't want to focus just on one side of the family, because the other side of the family, the mom's side of the family, taught him very well also. His upbringing of what was expected, not only did he embrace that, he did that 10 times. He was the epitome of that. The Latin version of Corey's name means the big of heart. I want to share with you a little bit of a story because also too I am a minister in our church, and so I'd be remiss if I didn't share a story at least and go down that route. And the story talks about a centurion soldier named Cornelius. Cornelius was this fierce warrior. Cornelius, however, was also a Gentile. And Gentiles do not get baptized by Jews. So an angel comes to Cornelius and he says to Cornelius, "Go and seek out Simon Peter." And so he does. But they've got to prep Simon Peter too. So then the Lord comes to Simon Peter and he says to Simon Peter, basically he says that he wants him to baptize Cornelius. Well, I'm a Jew. Jews do not baptize Gentiles. We don't do that. So as is with the case with the Apostle Simon Peter, never was it where he just told him once and that happened. He had to tell him 2 or 3 times, but finally he relented. And he realized upon meeting Cornelius that Cornelius, although a Gentile, was a good man worthy of being baptized. Now, in this situation, in this story, you may be sitting out there and you're in the crowd and you're thinking, who is Corey in this story? Well, Corey is obviously Simon Peter because he would do anything for anyone. And yes, that is true. Corey is Simon Peter in this story, but Corey is also Cornelius. Corey always had the best intentions, but he also did things sometimes in very unconventional manners. It was sometimes best not to question the way he did things, but that he got them done. He was very, very unconventional. But there were times, and for those of you who don't know, I live 1,000 miles away. Out of the blue, I'd be sitting on the couch, and he would call me. And he would ask, and he would tell me about things going on in his life, some good, some bad. And he would ask me, the first question he would ask me is, how would the church view that? Now, he wasn't talking about any one church. That was his way of saying, how would I view that? How would I consider that? And my response was always, it doesn't matter what the church thinks of that. So long as in your heart you're doing what's right. So then the next question was always, well, what would God think of that? And that may be a side that some of you didn't necessarily encounter with Corey. You'd see the works that he does in God's eyes, but you may not encounter or have that conversation with him as it relates to God. And so we would have some very good conversations because Corey cared so much about what others thought. That may not change what he did or how he reacted, but he did care, and he cared what people thought. And so sometimes out of the blue, whether we're home, there was one time just in the last year, we were away from home. We were in Atlanta for a trip. We're about to check into a hotel, and he calls and was like, okay, we can't check into the hotel. We got to stay in the parking lot here. This is a big deal. And he wants to know how we would react to that situation that he was in. Because he cared that much. But as we often tried to say to Corey, that although it's unconventional, and although when it came that time that he was to pass, and yes, we didn't realize it would be as soon as it was. Whatever you may believe, particularly in the manner that he passed, my belief is this, is that once he gets up to heaven, and yes, he went to heaven, that yes, there are questions. He's standing at the pearly gates and there are questions, but it's not questions of worthiness. In my mind, my thought process is that the questions went something like this. They went, Corey, just out of curiosity, why do you insist on being frisked by security at the airport? Corey, why do you have top-notch Fort Knox security on all your social media, but your garage door is unlocked? It is these questions that might stump even God. But much like Cornelius was worthy to be baptized because he was a good man. Corey, while unconventional, three things that matter. What matters most? Corey was a good man. Corey was big of heart. Corey was chosen.
At this point, we'd like to open it for any and all people that would like to share in memories of Corey. I mean, if you came up here, then everybody would be able to hear you, but that's not necessary, I guess.
I'll just tell my favorite Corey story was actually at another sad occasion. It was at a funeral for Uncle Bruce. For this side probably knows that Uncle Bruce passed away when Jason and Jordan were still in school, and Corey was really, really little. So all of us cousins are gathered around with other cousins trying to figure out, gosh, how are Jason and Jordan going to navigate this? And Corey comes up and area and flipped his eyelids inside out. Every cousin was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh," he just walked around, and then he'd flip them back, and then we'd say something to Bart like, "Wow, that's something. You got a great kid there." And then he'd come back, brink, flip it inside out, and make little tracks so that everybody could see his inside out eyelids. It was a moment of levity that everyone needed in that room, and I will never forget it.
Come on, I know you guys got stories.
I'll do the best I can, everyone. First, I want to throw this away. Hi, everyone. I am Jessie Keith, and I am so sorry, everyone, for the loss of this wonderful man, Corey Johnson. I met him back in mid-February, and the first time we talked, he just, like what you guys all said already, he just has this calming presence. I'm always nervous talking to somebody on the phone for the first time, but just the first time we talked, he just had this. There's just some peace about him. So it was just so easy to open up, and I just could sense he's such a good man. Like what you were saying, he is a really, really wonderful, good man. So even though I've not known him very long, he always is going to have a special place in my heart. And it's like how do I say this? Even though my time with him was short, he made a big impact in my life. So what else do I want to say? He's a wonderful dear friend. He's forever in my heart. When I think of Corey, he's so smart because like the way when we talk, like the way he would talk about the cars and how he would build them, I've tried the best I can to like catch up when he talks about it because he had such a passion in his heart about how he would build race cars to make them faster. So it's like I would try to catch up, but like just hearing him and his excitement about it, Bart, and I know it's because, and you're Bart, right? Because I never had a chance to meet you yet. Yes, he would tell me that you are the reason he got into that. And how did he say this? He was saying how you helped him with his work ethic. He's very thankful, and you too, how you guys both raised him, Lynette and Bart, to help him be as strong of a man and as smart that he is. It's because of you guys. And then it was your love, right? You had the love of cars, and that's why he got into it, because of you, yes. So when I think of Corey, I think of how smart he is, and funny, because we would talk for hours, and we would just laugh. And the one show we watched was Loudermilk, and I don't know if anybody has seen the show Loudermilk from Netflix, but that's a really, really funny show, and we laughed a lot. So, and I also admired how strong he was with the pain he went through. That's what was really hard to see that, but I know he did it. He handled it the best way that he could, even though he was struggling with that, but he did the best he could. And when I also think of Corey, so I think of him with race cars, and then I also think of candles. He would light, the first time I went over to his house, his house is full of candles. So the very first time I went to his house, I stepped into his house, and I smelled all this candles, and it was a good smell. So it was the first time I went to his house. It was a good way to, go into somebody's house with the smell of candles. So I would always think of that. And when I left his house 2 times, he gave me 2 candles. So whenever I think about him and whenever I miss him, I'm gonna continue to light those candles and any other candle that I have, and think of all the memories and all the wonderful times that we had together. And I took a picture of a candle he gave me not too long ago. And I said, I love that smell. And I said, thank you so much for this candle. I really like the smell of it. And he's like, your candle game was weak. And I'm like, what do you mean? Because I lit his candle. And he's like, your candle game was weak. And yeah, I understand it's because, he has way more. He has a whole bunch of candles. So anyways, yes, everybody, he was a wonderful man, heart of gold, definitely a heart of gold, and I will never forget him. And Corey, I will always love you, and I'll always miss you, and I hope to see you again someday. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and thank you, everybody, for coming. He appreciates every single one of you, and he loves every single one of you.
I didn't know that about the candles, but he probably got a really good deal on them. Anyone else have any really good, juicy stories? Oh, someone's coming up. So.
Hey guys, I'm Ian Burglar. I've been Corey's friend for over a decade now. First and foremost, hey Corey, buddy. You didn't leave me much that's PG to talk about for good stories here, buddy. You really didn't. No, for stories, I don't know. The last week here, I don't know if you guys have saw yourself doing this, thinking about something. You know who knows about that? Corey. Trying to pull your phone out. He's not going to answer. But, it's just, man, the weirdest thing is that he was always there for all of us guys. All of us, at any time we needed him, no matter how hard it was to get a hold of him, no matter how hard we had to go there and, pry it out of him, but fucking A, I love you, dude.
It's hard for me to say what I feel about Corey. He was my number one grandson, number one by birth, And we've shared so many good times over the years, and we've shared cars. He'd call me up every once in a while. Hey, Grandpa, I got another car. Come and see it. And I go running over there. But my favorite was that him and his dad hauled me to so many car shows. One of them was in St. Ignace, but my favorite one I want to share with you is, over the years, my early years, I found that the cheapest car you could buy was a used police car. And I had 3 or 4 of them over a period of time. And I discovered that there is such a thing as police car owners of America. And it's still in business. But they had a convention in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, which is just over the border from Missouri. And we went out there, and we've got pictures from St. Louis and all the other places. Drive down the highway, there's a car we want to see. Go look at it. But the favorite part of that trip was that we stopped at I call it mom and pop grocery store. And Corey went in there and he came out with the biggest grin. And I thought, uh-oh, what now? To this day, I didn't know there was such a thing. Corey went in that store and he bought some fart gum. F-A-R-T, fart gum. And I had no idea there was such a thing. But we knew it all the way home. each year on Father's Day, his dad and I and others went to car show in Hastings, and we were tentatively going to go tomorrow, but we'll remember all the car shows we went to, and we have so many good and fond memories, and just to see this room full gets to my heart because of how many people he touched because of the things he could share and help people with cars and other things, and I just love that guy, and I won't quit loving him. My mother and I are so proud of him, and we thank you for listening.
I wasn't totally sure if I wanted to speak or not, but I knew Corey from a different side of the family, from his mother's side of the family. I'm Kaylee. I'm his mother's sister's daughter, and while I have different memories with Corey than you guys do, he was still just an amazing guy since day one. Unfortunately, our side of the family wasn't as close as the Johnson side was. We were for a little while until we got to about teenage years, and then we really didn't see each other much. That's when Corey and I really went our separate ways, and I just remember all kinds of times growing up, him and I mean, Lynette and Bart always watched me. We lived just down the street from them, so I was always hanging out with Corey and Derek, and I would always be hanging out on the couch while Corey and Derek are fist fighting in the living room over something stupid. I don't even know. But Corey still had my back. They both were my brothers. They both have always been my brothers, despite us being just cousins. We were tighter than that. Corey especially took it upon himself to be the big brother, to me especially, in the family, and he's stuck to that role until the very end. When we were up until young adults, we went our separate ways. We both went down totally different paths. I'm more like Derek, I'm the other rainbow sheep of the family. So difference in personalities, but we still loved each other very much. And I still remember one time, he even commented on my Facebook once, early 2010s. We had to have been early 20s. It was before my serious relationships, before my children and everything. And I was dating this one guy. And Corey, something about it, he did not like this guy. And so he was on my Facebook, I will beat this guy up, Kaylee, if he hurts you in one way. And I was like, I appreciate you, but I can handle myself, cousin, thank you. Last time I see him was a little over a year ago at Dave Johnson's barbecue. And it was the first time I had seen him in many years at that point. And it was like years hadn't passed. Like I just saw him yesterday, and he gave me the big brother hug that he always gave me. And I always knew that he was still, despite the fact that we didn't hang out as much as adults, and that's part of my fault, that he was still there for me, despite everything that happened in our family, despite the fact that we were distanced at that point. He was still the big brother, the big protector. I loved him more than anything. And not growing up with him was kind of hard, and I wish that I would have spent more time with him as an adult, and it's comforting to know that he at least still loved all of us despite how many years we've spoken to him. He was our Corey.
I apologize. I'm going to try to keep it together. But Corey was, I say he was like a brother, but he was my brother. I wish I could have done more for you. I tried really hard. Corey was really good at covering how much pain he had, even to those of us who were close enough to see it. And he wouldn't always let us in, but when he did, I feel like it helped. Some of the good things about my friend and my brother, I don't know anybody who was cheaper and better at getting deals than Corey. Every time I'd come over, take a case of peanuts, man. They were on sale on Amazon, and I got them for practically free. I don't know how Corey and I ever got so close, because I'm not a car guy, and I'm not much of a fisherman. In fact, the fish in that picture, he caught off a little bluegill that I had caught, because that's what I do. I catch the little ones, and he caught that thing. I miss you, buddy. I love you. You left a hole in my heart, but I hope you're not in pain anymore. Thank you.
Does anyone else like to speak?
I will.
I am Derek. I am Corey's little brother. And Corey and I had a lot of work to do. Corey and I had a lot of work to do. And it wasn't because either of us didn't want to do the work. It's just Corey's Corey, and I'm me. If you were all attending mine today, I'm sure there would be a room full of people saying, oh, Corey or Derek had his ways, and you know Derek, that's Derek. And you know, Corey and I were both Geminis, and it's hard for two of those, you know. Corey and I had work to do, and we loved each other in our way, and I can sit here and tell you stories about being a 90s kid, what that was about. You know, Corey and I just like clocking out Super Nintendo all night long, but I went on my distant path, and I always thought I had time to get it right. And I waited too long to no end. So if I had a chance to just say anything to my brother, it's just, I miss you, bro. I'm getting my shit together. And, you know, if you're here, I think you and I could do the work for a future to believe in. I'm sorry I couldn't say more. I'm sorry, I'm quite an evasive guy. And I couldn't say more and greet you all. There are far too many people asking me how I am when I'm speechless. So to that, I especially want to give thanks to Lori and Mike, Dan and Mary, Mark and Andrea, Corey's friends, who have all stepped up and made this easy for him, me, my family. I want to thank you all for being here. And I just think that's as much as I can do with this today. So I love you all. Please consider me one of your own. especially a big shout out to everybody, and I know you all are. You're thinking about what you're going to do this summer for Corey. And I think that's very healthy and very special, and please, count my family as part of your own. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to awkwardly Irish exit. Love you all.
Hello. Sorry. My name's Adam. I had the amazing opportunity to be a friend to Corey, that I could return the favor to Corey. He would actually call me when he needed a hand with something. He would call me when he had something screwed up. Usually that he did, that he needed out of pretty quickly. And most of those stories I can't share with you. A good story I can share with you, though, is he had a friend, Bryce, that had a food trailer. And he was always willing to go out of his way for some good food. And Bryce's motor blew up, and he needed a hand on the fly. I had my son. Corey loves family. My son was treated like family at his house. My son did not care about this food truck or the motor we had to put into it. He was acting up something fierce. And Corey just thought to take this old hood to a car he had and drag it out in the yard and gave him a sledgehammer. So I had never laughed that hard in my life. My son was so damn happy to just beat the crap out of that hood of that car with a sledgehammer. There were a few other people there looked on in horror. I thought all week about what I wanted to share, and that was the memory that really stuck out to me. So I'm just glad that I was able to have memories like that and to be able to have one to share with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Some wind chimes were given to Bart and Tracy to remember Corey, and on it there's a note that says, "Always near. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day. Unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, still missed, and very dear."
I'm Corey's aunt, and I love him dearly. And I posted a little bit on Facebook last night. I had a chance to meet some of Corey's, I'll call them brothers and sisters, not just friends, brothers and sisters. And I still am in awe of the love that is being poured out, even though he's not here, for one another. And Tracy did say it best, that love is going to outlive sorrow. And so I really appreciate you for that. I took Romans 8:37 through 39 and I adapted it for today. Know this, my beloved community here today. In all things, we are conquerors through Christ who loved us. I am fully convinced that death nor life, angels or demons of all kinds, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, neither the past, the present, right now, or yet the future to come, nor any power that tries to rule us or overcome us, neither the highest mountain or the deepest ocean depth or anything else of all creation can separate Corey, can separate each and every one of us from the unfathomable love of God that is in Jesus Christ our Lord. Will you bow with me with closing prayer? Loving Creator, source of all light and love, we've come together as friends and family, as community to remember the precious life of Corey. Through tears of compassion, help us cry out loud. Help us to hold one another gently and to live with unanswered questions. I pray, God, that when you are here, will you wrap your loving arms around the friends and family of Corey today, in our shock and in our grief of the sudden loss of our loved one. Heavenly Parent, you know the grief is heavy today, and yet I ask you to keep comfort for each one of us, especially Bart, Tracy, Derek, Lynette, and family. And the knowledge that you, God, were intimately with Corey in his deepest despair, and you know the depths of his pain and the brokenness. You wept with Corey on his darkest night, and through it all, you love Corey, and you embrace him here and now. Lord, I ask that you weave through each heart today your limitless love, especially when feelings of doubt, anger, guilt, blame threaten to overcome us, and it will. Please hold us close to your heart in our dark nights of overwhelming tears, assuring us that Corey is a beloved child of yours, and that each one here is loved with an everlasting love. We know this time today and closure will not fill the gaping hole left, the loss of Corey. But please encourage us to live Corey's legacy, living large, taking chances, loving with his whole heart, and giving so generously to others. Help this tragedy become a place where community and family can unite as one, making a place at the table for each other. As we move forward in the days ahead, let every salty ocean wave, every bent fishing rod, flip-flops and sunglasses, every bonfire with friends, old cars, and fast boats bring a smile and a good memory of Corey. Remind us today that it is not a goodbye, but until I see you again. From the words of his final video, how can we not talk about family when family is all we've got? Everything we went through, You were standing by my side. Now you're going to be with me for that final ride. So let the light guide your way. Hold every moment as you go. And every road that you take, it will always lead you home. It's been a long day, my friend. It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you about it when I see you again. When I see you again. Amen.
We're gonna play the video again for those that want to stick around and, you know, didn't get to see that, or look at the pictures at the back. There is a light lunch, what is it, downstairs? Downstairs for family and anyone's deciding to stay. And continue to, you know, share these stories. You guys can tell the stories now that are X-rated, you know. Grandma and Grandpa won't hear, you know. Thank you.
We ask that you remain seated until you're dismissed. The usher will dismiss you shortly. Family members are going to be dismissed first from the front door. There's the stairs along the left as you would go, and there's an elevator available on the far side of the lobby for those of you who might need help with the stairs. But please join the family and share your memories downstairs for refreshments afterwards. On behalf of Corey's family, thank you again for joining them here today.